Welcome to this video about Opti-kuckeliku, a feed optimization program for poultry. So this program is divided into 5 tabs, and the first tab is the requirements tab. And here you can choose type of animal, and as you do that the program suggests limits for different types of nutrients, and it also suggests limits on different feedstuffs. You can change all this. You can erase one, you can add a new one, and you can also change all these figures. You can also choose between total amino acids and available amino acids, like this. But let's go back to the default settings for laying hen. Then we have the matrix, and this is a feed table. Here you can change the name of the feeds, of course, and you can also change price and all other aspects of this feed. You can add a new one. If I zoom out a little bit, if I click the plus sign here, you see that you added a new feed, and here the X button erases that feed. It's important that if you add new feeds, if you add a new feed to the table, you must fill in all the figures. You cannot make these up, because then it will affect the whole calculation. Then I click the optimization button here, go to the optimization tab, and we have here 2 tables, and the first one is the recipe. So it tells it should be 17.26% of wheat and so on in this recipe. And the margin cost tells us, for example, that the price of barley, if it goes down with 0.06, then this feed will enter the mix. Let's test that. So I open a new window here, and I go to the matrix, and I reduce the price here of barley with a little more than 0.06, for example 0.93. I always take one extra because of round off errors. And then now we can see barley entered the mix. If you go back to the default values again for laying hen and go to the matrix, we can also check the lower and upper price limit. And this tells us that if the price is that the level of weight is stable within this price interval or these price limits. So for example, if the price goes down with more than 0.16, then there will be more wheat. If it goes up with more than 0.07, then there will be less. So if we have wheat here and I increase the price with 0.06 to 1.18 and make a new optimization, we should see the level of wheat at the same level as in the mix or the optimization that we did before. But if we go back to the matrix and change the price even more, so it goes out of these boundaries, then we should see a decrease in weight. And that is also what we see here. Okay, but let's go for the default values and click on the requirements, so we get the right animal, and optimization again. And then we have what the mix contains. We can compare that to our requirements. For example, you can see here that the minimum level that we had on energy was 11, and we also see that here in the resulting recipe that energy was exactly on 11. It tells us that energy is something that is expensive. But for example, for this particular value, it's not on the boundary. it was 8.8, but here it's 8.93. It tells us that this is not the most expensive ingredient or the most expensive nutrient to satisfy in this particular mix. If we make custom changes that we want to save, for example, let's say that I for some reason want 11.2, and here in the matrix I know that my wheat is I can get it cheaper for just 1 instead of 1.2. I'll make a new optimization, and then I get my custom results here. Then I can go to the Files tab, and then I can click here on the Save Data to File. And when I do that, I get this file here in the downloaded files folder on my computer. This may vary on your computer and your system. And here are the settings that we made stored in the text file. So this is just a plain text file, but it's formatted in so-called JSON format, so it's a machine readable format. So if I go back to the default settings and I click File again, then I can load the file that I downloaded before, like this. Load selected data file, and here it says data from file was loaded successfully. So if we go back to our requirements, we see that the custom settings that we made before, the reduced wheat price here and so on. Okay, so now we made this on a computer. I just would like to point out that this program also works just as good on a smartphone or an iPad or a tablet, whatever device that has a web browser that is HTML5 enabled. The last tab here is the Help tab. Here you can read a little bit about the program and how it works. Okay, so with this short video, I would like to wish you all happy optimization.